An early build of Banjo Kazooie, is Paper Mario Thousand Year Door headed to the Switch, NES Open Golf, and last but not least, our thoughts on the Mario movie. Let's start the therapy session. Hello, and welcome to episode 13, Lucky 13, of Nintendo Therapy, a show about the latest Nintendo news and rumors, as well as a celebration of all things Nintendo. I'm Kevin. With me is Harrison and Sean, just like every week. How are you guys doing? What have you been playing?
It's amazing that no one went to that movie, huh?
I don't know what movie you're talking about, Sean. Jeez, there's lots of movies out, man.
It's about to pass up like Star Wars and Marvel apparently for like the for just how quickly it's selling.
Yeah, it's funny because like all my life I've heard about how Mario is almost as strong a brand as Mickey Mouse, and it's like, well, now it's really starting to show.
Yeah. Well, it's the same way that Pokemon is bigger than like all of those, and
Yeah.
yet you know we won't go back to Scarlet and Violet and talk about that. And we also said we weren't going to talk about the movie either, so so maybe we should go back.
I've been playing Violet.
You've been playing one of them?
I've been playing Violet, yeah. I actually, this week, for the first time ever, I bred Pokemon and got like some Pokemon eggs, and then I traded over the internet Pokemon. Two things I've never done in a Pokemon game before because I only played the first gen, really.
So Pokemon lay eggs?
You breed them and you get eggs. It'll give you like whatever the lowest evolutionary form of the mother is, unless you use a Ditto. And then, of course, it's going to be whatever real Pokemon you used. And that's how you breed your starter Pokemon to get the other starter Pokemons.
Because, Ditto just likes everyone.
Yeah.
Ditto is the most love the one you're with type of Pokemon.
Yeah.
But yes,
Wow.
John, you can breed Pokemon, but of course, like real life, you have to have a picnic first.
You know what's funny? Harrison, you might know this. Did breeding start Gen 2 with Gold and Silver?
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember that was one of the things that kept me from playing that game. I remember reading the list of all the changes that were going to happen in that. I remember reading like, oh, there's going to be day and night, and you're only going to be able to catch some at night. And I was like, don't like that. And this was at the time. Video games have changed so much since then that I'm cool with all this stuff now. But I remember reading about the breeding and being like, what I thought it was going to be was that certain Pokemon species you'd only be able to get them like if you combined a specific two Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't want to have to try every single combination to see what I'm missing. And like, it was still early days of the internet, so I didn't like have the ability to just look up the combinations online. Turns out those combinations don't exist. You just get the Pokemon you bred.
Right. Well, you should look up. There's a fan-made game, Pokemon Fuse Dimensions, where I think you can fuse any two Pokemon, and there's like
I'm always confused.
And there's always like 100,000 combinations that you can make with them.
Wow,
That's a lot.
And
it reminded. I think at the time I was playing, I think one of the Harvest Moon games had this mechanic where you could breed plants together and make like hybrid plants. And I hated it so much. And that's why I thought I would hate it in Pokemon and wound up never trying it.
Right. So have you never played Gen 2?
Nope. Here's my Pokemon journey. I played the first games and were obsessed with it when it was brand new. Got all 151. I even did the glitch to get Mew. And then by the time Gold and Silver rolled around, I didn't play them. Didn't play like anything forever until Pokemon Black and White came out, and I played Black, which was kind of funny because I played Black and Blue. Um, but I played Pokemon Black and then didn't play anything until Violet. And now I'm like super on board and kind of want to go back and play everything.
I'm similar. I did Sword and Shield, which I hated, absolutely hated. Uh, but you should play Heart Gold, Soul Silver sometime if you ever have a
I
chance.
actually have Soul Silver. I brought this up to Sean once where I don't have any memory of playing it, but I found it up in my attic and I put it in my 3DS and I had like a 50-hour save file on there. And I'm like, I have no memory of even playing this game. Like, does any of this mean anything? Like, I'm going to
Oh,
play all these games and not even remember I played them.
oh, it's very possible, and it's very possible that you enjoyed it and then you moved on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think Gen 2. I'm not huge on Pokemon, but Gen 2 is my favorite, and I was always assuming they were going to make a new Let's Go game with Gen 2, and
Yeah.
they never did.
I
Um,
think I'll give Soul Silver another play at some point since I already own it and remember it this time.
So as
uh,
far as playing stuff, I mean, I played the Spotlight a lot, but outside of that, I didn't really play much this week.
Oh,
very
you
nice.
mean I was confused for a second. You mean the game we're going to spotlight? Okay, I was like, what is the spotlight?
Right.
It's this awesome game.
I've been struggling with that too because I know we always open with this, but this is where work and play kind of overlap
Yeah,
Yeah.
I played it a good bit too, and then I messaged Kevin frantically this morning because there's like 7 different Nintendo golf games, and I thought, oh God, did I play the wrong one? I was thinking, oh, sorry, the Spotlight game. I thought we were maybe playing the like original 1984 because we played baseball last week, and I got confused.
yeah, they're very easy to confuse because especially like the one I think a few of them are. Isn't the one that's just golf also on the virtual console? I mean, not virtual console, Switch Online.
I don't think so.
I
No,
think it's
okay.
only the one we played.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, okay. So at
yeah,
least it's the only one on there.
which is why I freaked out because I was playing the actual game this week, and then last night for me I was thinking, oh God, like was it supposed to be golf? And then I looked and I'm like, I don't think it's on here, but there needs to be there's not a better way to sort these games when we pull them up on the application, right? There's only
You can
one.
sort them, yeah, you can sort them by title, which is what I do.
Oh,
The NES one gets kind of wonky though. Like some of them are in a weird order. Like it doesn't
Uh,
put the lost levels where it should go alphabetically and a few
so
others.
I do it by release.
You could do it that yeah, it's if you look at the bottom of the screen, I think it's you hold Y and then it gives you the sort options. It's either X or Y. And
okay.
yeah.
Well,
So
regardless,
yeah,
yeah.
play wise, I wasn't so good as far as the Nintendo one this week.
Yeah, that's why I only played Pokemon Violet this week. I had a really busy week and that's just a really easy game to play right before bed. I like, would just grind my Pokemon up a few levels and then go to bed. One night I got a new gym badge because I haven't finished the story yet. I've been going back and forth between story and Pokedex. So yeah, that's an easy game to not have to think while you're playing.
I played the Spotlight game this week. I played more MLB The Show and played a few different just like driving sims because just kind of had a relaxing week here. And I know we're now 1 month or 30 days away from Zelda.
Oh
So
yeah.
now so 1 month I'm really starting to think about like where I want to be at that point. What games have I finished? What games am I playing? Because I just want to be the right mindset. Want to have the
And
right
of
mindset.
course, listeners, if you're wondering why we're not talking about it, of course, they decided to give us new Zelda footage
Mhm.
tomorrow, the day after this record. So by the time you're
I didn't
hearing
know
this,
that.
yeah, by the time you're hearing this, everyone has seen it and they're like, why aren't they talking about the new Zelda footage? We haven't seen it yet because we are recording on a Wednesday night, our time. Harrison's a little different. Uh, and the footage hasn't come out yet, but by the time you're hearing this, the footage is out. So they kind of badly timed that for us, but I'm sure they don't care.
Hey Kevin, just for fun though, can we make up can we make up a reaction, and if we're right, then we'll add it into the show later?
Sure.
Okay. Wow, that was amazing. Did you see that?
I could
Nice.
not believe all of the things that weren't in the 10-minute gameplay footage. It's amazing. How much stuff does this game have?
That is by
Yeah.
far the longest poll I have ever seen.
Well, Sean, it was fused together.
It's
Yeah.
insane that every dungeon from every Zelda game is going to be on this map.
I know, huh?
Right.
Replayable. That would be nuts.
Yeah, with a month till that, that gives me 4 weekends to hopefully get through Persona because I'd like to get that done before Zelda.
How long is Persona 5? Like 150 hours?
I think if you do every single thing ever in it, yeah, I'm not planning on doing that. So
It, if you play Persona, can you start at Persona 3?
I think you can play them and they're like
Eh, eh,
Final Fantasies. The number, it's always different characters and different scenarios. So 5 is the only one I've even tried.
well, five does look pretty incredible on Switch. But like I think I was telling Kevin, I have 3 and 4 on my Vita, and I've never played it before, and I've
I've heard
always,
all of them are pretty decent. So
um, but it is a time commitment. Like
yes.
I have friends that love Persona and they love JRPGs, but wow, it's a lot of time for sure.
Well, I mean, as far as JRPGs, after that, I still have Octopath 1 and 2, and then all 3 Xenoblades. So I have no idea when I'm going to get through all of it.
Oh, for sure. And have you played Dragon Quest? In
No, because I just be adding even more. So I got to restrain.
right,
I'm
right.
going to get to Dragon Quest. Are you talking about 11?
Dragon Quest 11 or my favorite Dragon Quest builders too.
Oh, yeah. I'm playing them in order and I'm on 3. At this point, I want to go through the series in order, even though I
So
know most of them don't really tie together.
3, I might end up playing when they have the 2.5 remake. So I don't know.
I can see what a leap forward it was already. Like, I can see why people say it's the best of the NES ones
Yeah.
in what I've been playing so far. All right, let's get into some Nintendo news. Not a lot this week yet again, unless, the Zelda stuff tomorrow has something crazy we don't know about. I've
Oh
got
my
one
god,
news
it's
and one
every
rumor.
timeline at once.
Have you ever seen that video where it's all the Star Wars movies playing at the same time?
Yeah.
That's the Zelda game. So I got one news and one rumor, and it's questionable if this is even news, but I liked it. Rare's co-founder, Tim Stamper, showed off on Twitter this week a development cart of Project Dream 64. Apparently, the production cart was made for the Nintendo Shoshinki show in 1996. And if people don't know, Project Dream is what went on to become Banjo Kazooie, but it had a very long development process. It actually started as a Super Nintendo game. That's how long
Wow.
the development for Banjo Kazooie was. And in the beginning, even in the Super Nintendo stages, it was called Project Dream. And it was about like pirates and stuff. And it was like almost a completely different game. And so, yeah, he showed off a little bit of footage. And the reason I bring it up is it kind of goes along with something I've been saying a lot lately, where I'm amazed that all of this like 30-year-old stuff is still getting discovered and released, like development material, and
Yeah.
like people are finding early builds. Somebody found an early build of Ocarina of Time a few years ago, which was like, I don't know how these development. Have you ever seen these development carts? They look like if you stretched a Nintendo 64 cartridge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So apparently the Ocarina of Time one had like half Ocarina of Time and like half a different game on it for some reason. And they found a bunch of stuff that had never been seen before. But yeah, I'm just amazed that all this stuff keeps coming to light after so much time.
That is amazing, and I'm not surprised to hear that Nintendo, from probably the beginning, has uh, treated their development timeline the same way, pretty much. Of where they're clearly very protective of most or certain IPs, which they should be, and sometimes they plan games for one system and it turns out to be on another system, perhaps the new Metroid or the next Mario game.
What
Yeah,
they
I've
do.
I've seen like screenshots of Project Dream on the Super Nintendo. I think there was like even an early build, because could be wrong about this, but I seem to remember seeing images using like the Mario RPG, like almost Donkey Kong Country like type graphics. I think I feel like I remember seeing someone like on a 3D plane moving like like you do in Mario RPG, but I could be wrong about that. Not footage, but I think there are images available of that. And somehow that game morphed into Banjo Kazooie over a long development period, which everybody loves Banjo Kazooie. Good to
Still
see that
haven't
its
played
history
it.
is being preserved. You still haven't played it? What's wrong with you?
Well, maybe it'll come up in the randomizer.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it did. um, and then there was a rumor going around. So, a member of the Family Board forums who claims to be an investigative journalist has
Oh, do
reportedly,
they?
yeah,
What is this?
um,
Or am I being dumb?
uh, I
This is
I
the
don't put these.
rumor.
Yeah, it's just a rumor.
From the
They've
from the Family Board forums, or
That's what this
okay,
article says.
all
Family
right,
Board forums. Not sure what that is.
okay.
Um, they've they claim that they learned that Nintendo has been busy working on a Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remaster for the Nintendo Switch. So, yeah, that's the rumor. What I give this one like a 2 out of 5 if we're gonna rank the rumors. I don't know. Every GameCube game that was popular seems to have a rumor that it's coming to the Switch at this point.
I, I would just say I don't know based on the lifespan of the Switch. Like I don't know if 1 year from now we're still talking about Switch games being
Yeah.
remastered. Games being remastered on the Switch.
Yeah.
Uh,
See, I do believe that F-Zero one is coming for some reason. Like I could just feel it in my bones that it
Is
seems
it?
like it's time for F-Zero to come back.
Do you
But
base that on there being a Paper Mario on Switch?
there's a few if you include the Switch Online
Well, I
services.
mean
There's that, yeah.
a new one.
the new
Yeah.
one, yeah.
I mean, I would love for this to be true because Thousand Year Door is one of those games I haven't gotten to play because I missed it when it came out, and now it's one of those like games that you still have to pay like $60 for.
Yeah.
So I haven't gotten around to playing it. So I'd love for it to be coming, but I don't know. I also stand by what I said a few weeks ago, where I'm like, I feel like GameCube nostalgia is going to be hitting its peak lately because the people who grew up with GameCube as their first system are in their like
Yeah.
late 20s now. And the Nintendo 64 nostalgia has passed. Like it was huge for a while. Sean, I was huge into it. I was way
You've
into
never been out of it. What are you
yeah,
talking about?
rebuying all the Nintendo 64 stuff. And I think GameCube is going to start becoming the main focus of the nostalgia the nostalgia portion of Nintendo.
I agree.
Not that they don't, always shine light on everything, but so yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. I'd give this one like a 2 out of 5 in that I'm like, yeah, I'd like for it to happen, but it sounds like you're just making rumors about every GameCube game at this point. Like,
I
because
I questioned the like the motivations behind some of these remasters. Like the F-Zero one, the more that I've looked into it, seems legitimate. And to me that seems like Nintendo testing the waters and
yeah, for like a
saying,
new F-Zero game.
yeah, but we got that Metroid remastered and they're not testing the water with that. They're just giving us a gift
Yeah.
because we're getting a new Metroid game at some point and it's going to
I
sell
did
really
hear
it's going
some
to sell really well.
speculation that that Metroid remake might have been like an exercise for the development team working on Prime 4, where they were like, "Here, you work on this for a little bit and then you can start on Prime 4." Like they all kind of took turns working on it is like a theory, which I was like, I could see that.
I could see that too. So I think there's different motivations behind different games. But yes, if we got a Paper Mario remaster, I'm assuming. Well, I would assume we get a Paper Mario game on the next system, but not this system. So
Yeah.
I
They
I
got to
think it's
step up their Paper Mario game.
so I think it's just different for each one.
Yeah, did you play Origami King?
Not no, or I didn't play very much.
I gotta
Um,
say, I feel like that game had so much potential. I played it fully through. I did a full playthrough. And I feel like there were parts of that game that really shined, but unfortunately, the battle system just got so repetitive. I kind of had to force myself to keep playing just to see those parts. So I don't know. There's tons of video essays out there on what's happened to the Paper Mario series. I'm not going to say anything new, but they really should go back to focusing on making it more like the first three.
So I'm awful. So if we're counting Mario RPG, then I've never played a Paper Mario.
Wait, what do you mean? So, what do you
If
mean
Mario
counting Mario?
RPG would be like the first one
Yeah,
that kind of invented that the
you played
Mario.
that.
I played that,
besides
but
that,
Okay.
I've never played a paper.
I was gonna say I've seen you play that. I thought you were trying to say you haven't played it.
outside of Mario RPG, right?
Yeah. Okay. Um. Well, someday Paper Mario might come up in the randomizer too, and I gotta say
I
the
hope
first
so.
one, I played the first one. I loved it. Didn't play Thousand Year Door like I said before, so I would love this remaster to be a thing so I can finally play it. But I don't think it's gonna happen. People say it's the best one though. That's why I'm kind of like I need to play this game someday because I love the first one. People say this one's even better, and then people are kind of iffy on the third, and then it's supposedly like all downhill from there.
Was the third one on the Wii?
Yes, and you could like switch perspectives. That was like
Okay.
its gimmick. You could go like between like side scrolling to kind of behind Mario type view.
I think for me it would be the price point. If it's a $40 remaster,
Yeah.
perhaps I would play it.
Yeah.
Uh, but maybe but Nintendo maybe package some games together and make it $60. Like give me like 3 games or something like that.
And here's something that I always think about when it comes to these remasters and stuff. So whenever it comes up on the internets, if I bring up something like I loved the first Paper Mario, but I haven't been able to play Thousand Year Door because, like I said, the GameCube disc is still $60 or more.
Right.
And people will always say, well, why don't you just play a ROM? Why don't you just play it on an emulator? And the thing is, like, it's just not convenient for me. Maybe I'll get a Steam Deck someday or something, but it's like my computer's in the basement and I do my video game playing in the living room. And it's just like if I played it on an emulator, I'd have to change the whole environment I play video games in. And I don't know, it's just like a mental block, I think.
I mean, for me, if you're gonna have a remaster, let's say, okay, fine, that's a way for me to play it. But right now, I have so much back catalog and other things I'm trying to play that I wouldn't. I would either have to get a computer or sell a leg to get a GameCube. Like it's too much effort.
Yeah, people say just play an emulator as if the emulator works on the original hardware. And it's like, no, there's extra steps involved in there. Maybe not for you because you already have your emulator set up, but people like us, like, I don't have it. That would involve extra work. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on a lot of emulation. I'm not going to say I've never done it, but it always takes extra effort for me to play an emulated game.
Well, something I've been thinking of recently because I've been trying out emulation just a little bit, and honestly, I've never emulated a Nintendo game that I didn't already own. Not that I'm like above or below or against that or anything, but I just never have. But I think for the people that I know that are really big into emulation, the first thing is that the process of the emulation is like half the fun for them. Just
Yeah.
being able to say like, oh, I got 2 terabytes and I got all of these, I got thousands of games that I'll never play
Yep.
all here, and I can press a button, boom, and do it. And the second thing too is that I think people that are really into emulation, not that they're not also into physical games, they're buying games, is that they just have a different connection usually with that game. So, I mean, I know for me, if I emulate a game, whether I own it or not, it's just a different kind of feel, a different kind of connection to where maybe if I buy it, I say, I have to play this game at some point. I bought it.
Yeah.
Like I own it. Like I own the rights. I own the rights to play it. I need to play it at some point. And that's not to say that I've bought games from like Black Friday 2 years ago that I haven't played yet. Something like that.
Yep.
So yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot because I've noticed that for a lot of people who emulate, it's just the act of getting it to work and then never playing it again.
Yeah, no, I could totally see that. I actually kind of did that. I have the PlayStation Mini and I got it modded with a ton of PlayStation games on it. And then like I tried to add a different one and I was so excited when I got that to work. But I'll be honest, I never finished it. All right, so let's move on to our spotlight on Open Tournament Golf, unless anyone had any other news.
No.
Why is this game so good?
Because it came out in Japan June 14th, 1987 for Famicom and September 20th, 1991 for NES. And that was different when I saw this. I didn't know, and I always thought Famicom was the Japanese NES. I learned something. I didn't know they also had an NES on top of Famicom. Learn something new every day.
It's interesting.
And then North America came out September 29th, 1991. Not sure why it was 9 days later. That's a weird shift.
Did you guys find it weird that it released so late in the NES's life?
Yes. Well, and also that it released so long after the Japanese release.
I think that's why I confuse this game for Golf all the time, because Golf was like a launch title. And this is like a Mario Golf. I mean, it should have been called Mario Golf.
Yeah.
Like hindsight 2020. It definitely should have been called Mario Golf.
Mario Golf in red striped pants, which I don't believe appear anywhere else.
And the guy on the cover for Golf kind of looks like Mario, doesn't he? If I remember correctly. It's like a guy with a mustache.
Yeah, it could be the same family, I think.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah.
So it's a little confusing between the two versions, but this is legitimately Mario. You play as Mario, second player plays as Luigi. And yeah, I didn't have a whole lot to say about it. I did enjoy it, but it's a golf game. They're
what do you
hit or
mean
miss.
you don't have a lot
like
to
golf.
say? Oh, this game was great.
Well, if you have stuff to say it. That's why there's three of us.
Well, I really really liked it. I've been having fun with it. I'm gonna keep playing it. Like it's a really good game. I actually learned the mechanics, which was nice. Um, I don't know.
Gotta tap that button 3 times. Took me a minute to figure that out.
Well, it took me to the third course to finally be comfortable to do the fast swing. So I like how you kind of could start slow and learn as you go. Um,
I'm not gonna lie, I abused the heck out of save states to try it. Not save states, the rewind feature.
oh, I was gonna say you don't need
Yeah,
save states,
yeah. I just kept rewinding and getting better swings.
but
I
I
did
mean,
not do that.
you didn't rewind. I didn't do that either. I liked the little detail that Toad always has been the one to tell you you're out of bounds. I'm
It
like, oh,
is
that
true.
goes all the way back to this one. That's kind of cool.
It-
And I guess I was wrong about Mario Golf 64 because there's Mario and Luigi and then a bunch of people I've never heard of that you can play as.
two princesses, just two random. I don't think. Yeah,
Yeah, because Peach just shows up when you're on the green and she looks a little cross-eyed every
Yeah, I
time
don't
to
think
me.
Daisy must have not existed yet. Don't think because she's her first appearance was Super Mario Land, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and I don't think that was out yet. I could be wrong.
But I thought all three modes in the game were really good. It I liked how reaffirming like the guy at the beginning and the end of a match was. Like I'm not good. Like I was getting ridiculously high scores, but he's like, keep it up, you know. You got through, and it's like, dude, you just saw what I did. Like I hit the ball into the water, into the sand trap 3 times, onto the
I,
green, and around the hole a few times before I got it in. But I appreciate you trying to give me the boost.
I like how the guy basically explains how golf works at the beginning. He's like, if you get a low score, you will, move higher in the rankings or something like that. And I'm like, yep, that's golf.
the,
I
the,
thought
the,
that was cool too, though. That carries over to if you play the tournament.
Yeah, that's cool.
the
I
man's
like.
like the the goal of golf is to play the least amount of golf possible. That's the goal.
I thought the animation when the ball rolls close to the hole was like really good for an NES game.
Oh, that
So
was
good,
top notch. Like,
so good, man.
It's like 3D animation, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and the suspense of it. Playing this game, given that like the mechanics for this game are incredible for the NES,
oh
but
yeah,
still, at times, like for someone like me, that's I'm pretty selfish. I think I always want more. Like I want more UI. I want more depth. I want to be able to just know more about where I'm placing that shot. But um but yeah, I think for this game, like when I would actually get my first par or my first birdie, I was like, oh, it feels so good. Like it feels as good as playing a modern golf game.
It
no, I
felt good.
agree. Yeah,
It felt good even just cheesing the rewind. I still felt good about it.
I thought the course design was actually pretty good. I know there's only 3 courses, and it's funny. It's like the one Mario Golf game where you're in the real world, basically.
The par five on the U.S. course is so annoying. The first one, it's either like hole two or hole three. The par five that's separated by like the island, and there's like two
Oh
strips
yeah.
going into
Oh
it.
yeah. Yep, that's
And
2, I think.
I was just thinking, like, man, like in these old like platformers or these old sports games, it was just like, get in there, like get in there and like be horrible for a while, just be horrible for a while, and it'll feel good once you get better at it. Because I was like, this is really tough.
It's funny too because I feel like this, as opposed to baseball, I learned a lot from the computer opponent. So like I understood the backspin and topspin and stuff better because the the computer was doing it, and then I got comfortable with trying it.
Yeah, well, one thing we said about baseball that I kind of liked from that episode is like that was basically an Atari game. Like it was like a touched up Atari game, whereas this came out, a few years later, so you should be able to learn. It's good to see that the games were evolving on the system.
Well, yeah, it's crazy to see the amount of progression we've seen. Now that we've done a good amount of NES sports games, because I wonder if like in the late '80s they were looking at games they were making and thinking like, oh, we did not even know this was possible when the
Right.
system first came out. Because if you look at like baseball, which was I think like the only top down baseball game, and then you look at like bases loaded or like RBI, there it's such a huge difference. You're never going to see that on a more modern console.
And then
So
Yeah.
Double Dribble came in and had some voice acting.
Yes, it
Does
did.
everyone
yes.
remember that?
Oh, I love Double Dribble. I
Yeah.
mean, that was on my short list when we did the sports games. Uh,
I almost put Double Dribble on my list because I had a lot of fun with that game back then.
yeah, right. So looking at the progress between golf in 1984 and this game, which would have released only 3 years later, it's pretty incredible.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb and be crazy, but I think this is better than Super Rush on Switch.
I
Uh,
wouldn't know. I haven't played it.
yeah, and I didn't enjoy Super Rush the same way I haven't really enjoyed any Switch Nintendo sports game.
Something's
Um,
off on them, right? Like
it's just too much. It's like I feel. I mean, that's at least how I felt for me. I feel like
with
they're doing.
golf, yeah, and I feel like tennis and strikers, there was just too little to it.
Yeah. Well, tennis I started playing, but I think I lost it at like when I tried to do the story mode, and
Oh yeah.
I felt like that for me was too much. Because yes, I mean I think when you look at the progress of sports gaming just in general, golf has remained one of the closest ones now. I mean, I'm sure there's still golf games that use a meter to hit with.
Oh yeah.
So I so I think it's changed at least a bit. And yes, there is something off with the Switch sports games. I don't know if it's just the modern age and the fact that they can release games that are unfinished and then finish them as they go along. I think it's a number of things.
Okay, so I think that's a good time to move into where this ranks in our rankings before finally giving our thoughts on the Super Mario Brothers movie, which I'm really excited to do. And unless you guys had more to say about this, but I feel like that's going to take the whole rest of the night is talking
So
about that movie.
you guys rank it first.
So I put it. I don't know why this game has become the metric for this podcast, but I put it right above Ice Climber, which which I liked. If
I
you
like
if you
how
remember,
that's like the scale now. It's like, well, compared to ice climbers.
How about you, Sean?
Well, I want to know where Harrison's got it first.
Okay.
Oh, I don't have my list pulled up. So my
All right.
list right is Super Mario Brothers 3, right?
Yep.
And then Yoshi's Island, and then I'm gonna put this one I think third above Donkey Kong Jr. Just because with Donkey Kong Jr. Again, it's hard to compare these games. Open tournament golf is like 80 hours of content compared to
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Jr., which is like I finished it in 5 minutes. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so
On my list, Donkey Kong Jr. is right below Ice Climber, so we're pretty much in the same mindset there.
All
right.
right.
So
So
I'll have it third. I'll say.
my list has a few more games on it, but I also have it at third. I really like this game. Like
Above
top,
Kirby Adventure?
yeah. So my top five's Mario 3, Yoshi's Island, NES Open Tournament, Kirby's Adventure, and then Pro Wrestling.
You forgot Super Mario Brothers 3. That's your top game right now.
I said Mario 3.
Oh, okay. Well, then I just don't listen.
Well, I don't know. I can't help you, but yeah, I arguably one of the best NES games I think I've ever played, but definitely one of the best I think on the system for the online.
Just weird that it wasn't called Mario Golf. I wonder if there's a reason behind that, because it seems like that would have, like, I
The
don't know how many
reason
copies this sold, but it would have, I think, secured its legacy a little better.
the reason is because Nintendo just over and over again likes to choose goofy titles for their games. Like like I was talking about how it's like what was it, like the Kobe Bryant game, or like when they re-released Yoshi's Island on the
Oh
Game
yeah.
Oh,
Boy. It
yeah.
was like
Jeez.
Super Mario World 3, Yoshi's Island 2. I don't even know if that's right. I don't know if it's right, but I can't keep up, even as someone who likes is more than a casual fan. I would say I still get confused sometimes.
Okay, so we saved this until the end, just in case anyone's out there trying to avoid spoilers. But now we're going to talk about the new Super Mario Brothers movie, not the one we talked about last week. And I think we're going to get pretty heavy into spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet, now's a good time to stop the podcast, come back to it after you've seen it. It seems like everybody who wants to see this movie has, though, if you're judging by the box office. So we should be pretty safe. And yeah, let's dive on in. What's everybody's kind of general thoughts?
So I my general feeling is I enjoyed it. Have you guys felt that with this movie, and maybe it's just this is the first time I've noticed it, people are going out of their way to find reasons not to like it?
Well, that's just the internet, I think.
Because I've seen so many negative takes on it, and it's like
you
something.
gotta you gotta get off Reddit.
Well, it's just it's impressive to me that somebody was like, well, you know, that crowd scene in the stadium. It's like, did you look at the background? I mean, they weren't all moving at the same. And I'm like, really? You're analyzing the background animation? Like that's what you need to harp on because you're just like, people like this. Why do they like it? So
I have listened to multiple I don't know what you'd categorize this as, like podcast / YouTube videos now, with people giving their take on the movie. And I've compiled a list of common complaints that I'd like to address. But other than that, I haven't heard like nitpicking, though. I wouldn't say that's not what I've experienced. How about you, Harrison?
Um, I, I wrote down a lot of notes, but the first thing that I wanted to say is that that Brian Tyler, who
oh,
composed most of the music for this movie, he
MVP.
is absolutely incredible. I mean,
Yes.
one of the finest film directors of this generation, and by far, since he's now done, I think, 8 Fast and Furious movies, by far one of the richest as well. But
So he's
the
actually written my favorite score, which I think was only the second movie he had done. And the way he was able to integrate the Nintendo themes into the score he wrote is amazing.
right, so like the first time I really like my first moment watching the movie and thinking, oh man, like so cool. Like when they're this is getting the spoilers now. When the first time they're in the sewer and you have the piano doing like the do 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 do,
Yep.
Yep.
and the fact that like he obviously worked with other composers on this, but the fact that
Yeah.
like he had the liberty of taking all of these ideas, all these motives, and just kind of expanding them and using them in a way throughout the movies that if if you don't notice it, if you don't recognize it, it's nice. If you recognize it, it's amazing. Um,
Yep.
Brian Tyler absolutely killed this movie for me.
Those are
Um,
the best kind of Easter eggs too. The kind you don't need to know are an Easter egg. You could just blow by them.
yeah.
Yeah. So I agree. He's the MVP for the movie. My favorite moment, and it was very short, but when they get to the Kong Kingdom you can hear a little bit of Donkey Kong Country.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know
and
if I have a favorite musical moment. I'm trying to think. I think I
well,
remember liking the star theme at the end when they get the star power up.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
right.
I liked the whole thing, but as far as the music, it was just top notch.
I mean, I like how they use the level completing music when
Yep.
he's working with Peach. Da,
Hmm.
da, 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 da. But I was actually a bit surprised by the amount of music of licensed music they bought for the movie, which I liked. But since Brian Tyler is so good, I could have done without. Like
I
no
agree.
No Sleep Till Brooklyn fit in perfectly. Um, Take on Me, aha, is always it's always a good choice for me. Like when they're riding in the what is it,
Yeah,
the car?
but that was when they were getting to the Jungle Kingdom. But it's like I thought it was distracting there. Like let Brian Tyler bring us into this area.
Exactly, and I thought they could have just done that and like the No Sleep Till Brooklyn. I guess that's fine because like
Yeah,
sort of
that worked.
that sort of fit the theme. They also used habanero from Carmen, like dun 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 dun
Oh
dun,
yeah,
dun. And they used that. And I thought, you know, they could have done something else there. I don't think they had to use that reference, although that's like a very commercialized, like everyone recognizes it. Um, so yeah, and if I can just add one more part about the music, the other MVP for me by far was Jack Black. Jack Black, I
yes.
Yeah.
thought absolutely destroyed this movie, and I was thinking about how because at the same time I'm watching the movie in the same theater, they were playing the Thai audio version in another theater, and I was thinking
Hmm.
about I wonder how all this translates because you don't have Jack Black who was playing Jack Black in that movie
Yeah.
um, in that language. So I wonder how it was for other countries.
So other than the music, one thing I really thought was cool was uh, at the very first thing you see is the Nintendo. I don't remember what it said, but it was like some sort of Nintendo films like
That
intro.
was cool and so weird
The little Mario and little Luigi hit the
because
block.
Mhm.
this is like their first official thing now, and
Yeah, it
it was
reminded me of when you see the Marvel logo like for the first time back in the day, or when they would change it. Now they change it all the time, so it's nothing. But you
yeah,
remember they had their old logo, and then it became the comic book pages, which was really cool. And um, and it's changed a few times since then. But yeah,
yeah.
it's
I remember that was a very cool moment to just start with, and I'm like, okay, all right,
I've read online also that the design for Mario and Luigi's parents is apparently like some people were showing that he looks just like Talon from Ocarina of Time, but apparently the designs were based on early designs Shigeru Miyamoto had actually designed himself back in the day for Mario's parents that never got used.
interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. They like dug deep with a lot of the source material. And who's to say that Talon in Ocarina of Time wasn't designed after those sketches as well?
Right, right.
So yeah, I thought that was really cool. And I don't know. Does anybody have a favorite Easter egg?
Favorite Easter egg?
I don't know if it
I can.
counts, but I love the
What's?
Luma, everything the Luma kid did
Oh,
said.
you liked that?
Yeah,
I didn't notice it until someone pointed it out that he would get out of the cage, so he was there by choice.
that's funny.
Favorite Easter egg. So it was part of our homework. Like picking what we thought the next Nintendo franchise movie should be.
Well, that's another thing I have a note on. It's kind of changed since the movie came out because everyone's been posting this thing where it's like the MCU where it's like, oh, here's what Nintendo could do with the film announcements. So they're all on there.
Oh,
And
I don't want that.
So that's what I was gonna say is like, so yeah, give us what movie you would want, and also like,
So my
do you
favorite
want
Easter
the
egg.
shared universe or not? But I think we probably all
No,
don't.
no,
Yeah,
no. I'm tired of shared universe. My
me too. And
favorite.
I don't need to see Mario and Samus in a movie together. Like, give me their stories by
I,
themselves in
I
solo
know
movies.
everybody's like, "Oh, Smash Brothers movie." It's like I don't want to see a
Oh,
Smash Brothers aren't a
budget
team.
movie.
Like the
that
Avengers are a team. That's why it makes sense, you know. Like
But
Smash Brothers, what are they going to have a
I'm,
Mortal Kombat tournament?
well, that's the
I,
thing. It's like you're gonna have all these movies lead up to them fighting a giant hand.
no,
Yeah,
I'm convinced that, especially looking at the pacing of this movie, that a Smash Brothers movie would be similar to like the Emoji movie. It would just
yeah.
be so fast, no story, just in your face for 90 minutes, and then final battle. That's it.
And I also
Uh,
see people doing fan casting for a lot of stuff too, and they're clearly not remembering that it's an animated thing. Like
Yeah,
they'll be like, "Oh, here's the shared universe timeline, and here's who I want for Samus, or here's who I want for Star Fox." And well, not Star Fox, he's a fox, but Link. Here's who I want for Link, and it'll be like some super handsome fella. And I'm like, you remember this is animated, right? The live action won't mix in. They won't be the same universe if one's live action and one's
right.
animated.
So
right.
my favorite Easter egg was Punch Out Pizzeria,
Mm.
and I want a Punch Out movie.
That's a good one. All my life, I have said that I don't want a Zelda movie whenever it comes up. Um, but I think I'm adding an asterisk to that and saying I don't think I want a live action Zelda movie because I still think that would be dumb.
Yeah,
And I'm not picking Zelda for this. I'm picking Metroid. But because I think Metroid's just because I'm obsessed with it right now, it's got such a crazy like lore that's only kind of hinted at in the games. I think that would make a really cool
that would,
movie.
yeah, I agree.
But yeah, side note is I would not mind if they did something with Legend of Zelda in this style.
So Harrison, is there a Nintendo movie you dream of now that you've seen this?
Oh, I would definitely would love to see a Zelda movie, but I think I would be nervous going into it though, or leading up to it, because for this movie I didn't really care too much, like if I liked it or didn't like it, but I think I
Yeah,
would be a little bit nervous about going into a Zelda movie and then being like, well, excuse me, princess,
yeah.
something along those lines.
Nobody
um
ever picks Kirby.
uh so yeah, and live action probably not for that. And I didn't write down any Easter eggs, but I've been thinking a lot about the fact that Mario was playing NES in his bedroom.
That was awesome. He was playing Kid Icarus.
Right. And because it's like I've just been thinking about like how does that, because Mario is in the game, and it's just like it's not like a different universe, but it's just
Yeah,
it makes you
His
go,
cartridge is the one that's Duck Hunt only.
oh, is that
my
right?
f-
What? Oh
no,
yeah.
Yeah.
he was joking. My
Oh, okay.
favorite Easter egg I didn't realize till I looked up the Easter eggs was that Luigi's ringtone's the GameCube startup.
Oh
That
yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, I noticed
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that was
I
yeah,
didn't notice
that was
that.
awesome.
That
Yeah,
was
that was
great.
yeah.
Um, when they're running to the place to fix the plumbing, I guess the way they go through that street is basically World 1-1. So
Oh, that's pretty cool.
that's a pretty cool Easter egg. No, there was a lot of things I liked. I really liked Dixie and Diddy Kong. I thought that was actually pretty funny.
Mario's voice is in the movie, which was really nice of them.
Yeah, and
He
they let him
did he say that?
Giuseppe,
I
the
feel like he
guy
might have said that.
the guy playing Jumpman
Yeah.
in the pizza place. He got to do the, Charles Martinet got to come out and go wahoo.
Yep.
So it
Right.
was in there.
Right. For
And the
the
pose he does is the Jumpman pose from the
Yep.
arcade machine. Yeah. So there's so many Easter eggs in this thing. It's insane.
So
Yeah.
I thought that was crazy. The other thing I loved about the movie is that it was 96 minutes long. Like
Yeah.
That was so I was watching it and I'm like, wow, if I had to be like, no, these are your top 5 favorite movies, I'm like, 4 of my top 5 favorite movies are 90 minutes long and one of them's 2.
Well, that brings me to a point that I wrote down here that I've seen. It's one of the 3 common complaints I put down. And I've seen multiple takes on this movie now where people, even if they like the movie, they'll be like, I liked it, but, and they say, and I think what you just said about the 90-minute runtime comes into play here. They will say, I liked it, but there was no story. And I'm like,
What?
there's absolutely a story. What are you talking about? There's no story. Yeah, it's a simple story because it's only a 90-minute movie, but I can name a character, I can tell you their motivation and what they're trying to do. Like they all have something going on. There's a story. There's A to B to C. This happens, therefore this happens. Um and yeah, there's totally a story. You got Bowser there. He's trying to get with the princess. You got Luigi. He's trying to find his brother. You got Mario. He's also trying to find his brother. You got Peach. She's trying to defend her kingdom. Like everyone's got something going on. How can you say there's not a story?
I
I
was
thought,
con-
yeah, go ahead, Harrison.
I was just gonna say like there's definitely a story, but I was confused about the development and dynamic of Mario and Peach in this movie. Of where
Well,
I
yeah,
felt like
that
I felt
critique I'll accept. I'll accept that some of the character motivations are a little rushed. Some of
his
them seem a little odd, but I would say that this has just as much story as like a movie like Frozen or Shrek or something like that. It's not a complicated story, and there's a lot of. It's not the best told story, but there is a story.
I just wish they would have added a part that was like, "Hey, I'm Mario, I'm Peach," like like because
Yeah,
it felt like a point where it's like, "Oh, Mario, you're here, so now let's go outside and let's do this." So like, but that's not a critique of the story necessarily or the length of the story. I just wish that particular part was different, and I'm allowed to be, like that's just the only like critical part that I had of it. That's me trying to really think of like what could I think be better,
yep.
So I think the first 10 minutes establishes the bond between Mario and Luigi perfectly.
Yeah, you feel really bad for how Mario feels like he's letting his brother or influencing his brother or whatever the father says. You're bringing him down with you. Like,
So the fact that they get separated and everything, like you care that you want them to get reunited. So I think they did a really good job with that. Yeah, they introduced a lot of people really quick. I could argue that Toad was just kind of there.
hmm
and I would say there's certain things that will help. Certain. It's almost like a Star Wars where there's like certain outside the movie tie-ins that will help your enjoyment of the movie because like I honestly feel like if you played the Luigi Mansion games,
Yeah.
you kind of feel the brother bond a little more because I don't know when they first got separated, it really reminded me of Luigi's Mansion, where like Luigi's looking for Mario in that, and everyone knows the audio clip of him just going like Mario. He's looking for him.
Yeah.
In the game, like it I don't know, it cemented that brotherly bond for me in my mind.
So can we all agree on this? Because my friend was like, "Oh, you went to it?" He's like, "Yeah, how was it? I enjoyed it." Oh, did Chris Pratt ruin it? I had no issue with Chris Pratt
Nope,
as Mario.
none.
The only way I would have had issue is if he did the voice he did for the Lego movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, that would have been something. I had less of an issue of it than I thought that I would. And I don't know. I mean, just for example, for me, there was definitely times where Seth Rogen kind of came through, like like
Yeah.
and you can tell there's even times where they kind of let him do like his laugh, and it's just it's such a distinct
Oh
uh
yeah, there's a moment
distinct voice.
specifically where I feel like they dropped it in to be like, and here's the Seth Rogen laugh. It's like isolated. There's a part where they're on the carts and like nobody's talking, And then the Seth Rogen laugh just comes in, and I'm like, they did that just to put it in,
Yeah.
but I didn't mind it.
For you guys, which voice actor was the least obvious to you?
I don't know who Cranky Kong was. I knew it sounded familiar,
Fred
and I meant to look
Armisen.
it up, but I didn't. Oh, okay,
Yeah, it was Fred Armisen, and that's actually my answer. Um,
okay.
because I thought, and I wish he could have had a bigger role. It's not, I mean, it's
Hmm.
no problem, but to me, he is one of the most diverse. Like he can go the most places, and I didn't think Cranky Kong had a big role in this movie. Not that I thought that he would. Sean, how about you?
I think he might be taking care of that dog that was
Oh,
barking.
the dog's
Yeah,
there.
he'll be back. Well, but while we wait for him, I'll give the
Oh, here we
other.
go. Here we go.
Okay.
Uh, so you're getting into my one dislike in the movie. I did not like Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong at all. He wasn't cranky.
Oh,
He felt like
Wasn't
he was
cranky.
just shoehorned in. I don't know. I didn't like him. As far as the person, I had no idea who it was. Um, Kevin Michael Richardson played Kamek, so Magi Koopa,
hmm.
and I had no idea it was him because he was doing a totally different voice. Because I'm used to him being the Shredder in the 2012 Turtles series. So I couldn't believe that was him doing that voice in the movie.
While we're talking about those secondary villains, there, the blue shell turtle. Kind of crazy how small his role was when everyone was like, "He's on the poster. This guy's gonna be like
Right.
Koopa's second in command, and we're gonna learn all about blue turtles." And his role was so small.
Just something new. It was just
Yeah,
new, and we don't know who it is, and that's exciting, right?
But
yeah.
I think
Maybe we
across
can
the
talk about.
board, everybody was good. I just feel
Yep.
like Jack Black, they almost made Bowser kind of look Jack Blackish.
Oh, they did. They totally did.
Yep. It took his eyes for sure.
Because I think like Jack Black is just like he's almost like his own brand. Because when you watch like Kung Fu Panda, like they totally take his mannerisms and
Hmm.
his facial expressions because he's already just so expressive in it already. But I've already expressed my feelings towards it. They released the Peaches music video. It was like sometime
Yeah, my wife's
yesterday.
obsessed with it.
Oh, it got like 5 million views the first day.
Yeah,
Uh,
she's two of them.
It's a
She's
it's a
2 million of those.
it's a pretty good song, I gotta say.
it's
All right,
it's
I'm gonna throw
definitely.
this prediction out there based on the ending to the movie because I don't know if you saw. I think it was today that the news broke that they've like confirmed that a sequel is going to happen. Um, Baby Bowser in the sequel. That's my prediction.
That makes sense to me just because his dad got humiliated. See, that was the one thing I was surprised about with the finale is that they didn't drop Bowser into lava.
Yeah, I was totally expecting there to even be a bridge that like came out from under him. Like there were so many specific Easter eggs. I thought that might be coming.
But I mean, it didn't take me out of it. I mean, I like what they did with Mario and Luigi teaming up and knocking him back through the pipe and then shrinking him. And it was, I mean, like I said, I thought it was a really good movie. I think the way they brought the game worlds to life was great.
Hmm.
Like, I like how the first time they go through the pipes, it's just terrifying. And I'm like, yeah, I believe that.
I kept seeing a headline for an article this week that said, like, I think it was the director explains how the blocks float in the Mario universe. And I never clicked on it. I was like, I don't care how the blocks float. You
That's what I
made
mean.
you brought the
People
universe alive.
were
Like,
just trying to find something. Like, oh, well, um, yeah, they don't have all the power ups, or Mario doesn't like mushrooms. It's like, well, it's kind of a funny joke where it's like, here, this power
Mario
up's a
not
mushroom.
having the fire flower upgrade was a surprise.
Yeah, I guess so. But I don't know.
They
I liked everything they did with the power ups. I think
everyone kind of got a hero moment. I liked
yep.
that. As opposed to people who predicted this was going to be a Peach is a girl boss and takes over the whole movie type thing. It's like that really didn't happen. People's predictions were wrong. Like everybody got to shine. She was
Peach
more like the
was
Gandalf of this movie, I would say.
yeah.
She
She was
guided the journey.
the guide, or she's up there with Ellen Ripley and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Mhm.
So no, I had no problem with how they portrayed her.
Like literally everyone got a moment where they had like a little hero moment. Like Luigi had that moment where he held the sewer cap up.
Yep.
Obviously Mario's the hero of the whole movie. He defeats Bowser at the end. He defeats Bowser twice, really. You got and then obviously Peach has a few, Toad's got a few on the cart. Everyone's got kind of a moment. Donkey Kong saves Mario from the depths of the ocean when they're in the belly of that monster.
I
And
liked
then
that reference to the riding the barrel, because I was like, you gotta really be a Donkey Kong like country like
right.
person to be like, oh my god, they're riding the barrel. But the only thing I don't agree with is everyone seems to think Funky Kong was the Kong that greeted them when they got there, and I don't think that was Funky Kong.
We'll have to wait till the sequel.
To me, it
Or if
actually,
the Kongs might be getting a spin-off. I don't know.
and it's odd, I don't really want that, despite how much I like Donkey Kong. I'm all set with just the Donkey Kong movie. But yeah, when they arrived and that gorilla came out in the suit, I thought that was a nod to when Bob Hoskins goes to the club in Who Framed Roger Rabbit and the gorilla answers
Oh
the
my god.
door.
You just reminded me. I think that was the line I laughed the hardest at was when Mario said it's a gorilla in a sports coat.
The movie was a lot funnier than I expected it. Like, even though it was like I kind of expected it, the when they show up to the gate and they're like, "Oh no, there's no princess here. She's in another castle." That
Yeah.
was funny. Like,
Or when it looked like Toad was going to hit them and then he started cooking.
yep, yep. So
Mhm.
it was a much funnier movie than I thought it was. Think my favorite part in the whole movie though was Mario and Donkey Kong fighting.
Like the Thor Ragnarok moment.
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
liked that whole sequence. I almost want to put the Mario Kart part like right with it, but I don't know. There was just, well, it's a Donkey Kong thing, I guess. But I don't know. I enjoyed that whole scene, like, when he got the fire flower and then Donkey Kong blew it out, and then he's like, "Yeah, it's a mushroom," and it's the one that shrinks him, and then he finally defeats him with the cat suit. So
Why
Yeah,
was that guy?
lots of
Oh,
suits
go
in
ahead.
this movie. That's all. There were just a lot more suits in this movie than I anticipated.
Yeah, they didn't save a whole lot for the sequel. We got like I said, he didn't do the fire flower, even though Donkey Kong did. The cape was in the commercial, but they never actually
oh
wore it.
yeah, the commercial was pretty great.
Uh, what else could they do for the sequel?
Metal
I mean, I
Mario.
didn't get my
Metal
frog
Mario,
suit.
yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, no Metal Mario, no frog suit. I I think the part that I laughed at the most was when he got the Tanuki suit and they're running. He's like, "Hey, that's a pretty cool raccoon suit, is it?" No.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then later he calls him a bear, see no one knows what it is.
Yeah. No one knows. I hope if there's a sequel, because honestly, like with how good the world building was
Yeah.
for New York, I could have taken a whole 90-minute Mario Luigi in Brooklyn movie with based on how good that whole world looked. Um, so
So the last common complaint I have listed in my notes that I saw, believe it or not, come up in several reviews I watched of this. And I think this just should kind of show you the type of people that are out there just throwing their opinions out is how do I even word this? Like
Because you throw your opinion out.
so I saw in several different videos people saying like, and that's the point where I knew, okay, this is a kid's movie or something like that. And I'm like, you didn't know that when you saw the trailer? And like, when did you not? I don't know. I just thought it was a weird thing that a few of these videos had in common, where these people, I guess, went in hoping it was geared more towards their age group. And I'm like, you should have known fully well this was going to be a kids movie from the start.
We went on a Tuesday afternoon, and I would say there was about 1,500 people there, and
Oh,
we were the only people there without children.
Yeah, that was us.
Yeah. So that's
I went to the I went to the I almost said I went to the adult theater, which would have sounded wrong.
That was quite a different Mario Brothers movie.
I went to the theater in my area that is more geared towards adults. It serves alcohol, and it's got like each seat is like groups of two. So that's there were kids in the theater, but it wasn't like overwhelmingly kiddie.
Yeah. Oh, I also just wanted to brag too that we got the most expensive tickets, and they were $10 for two. So
Woo.
so 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 way to go, Thailand. It's like it,
Way to rub it in there, man.
yeah, and it's like we always get they have like sofas, so you can buy like a set of two seats, and yeah, it's just way better. But yeah, yeah, movies. Yeah. Do you guys have snacks when you go to the movies?
Usually.
Okay, so I've broken my theater going down to almost a science at this point, because for Spider-Man No Way Home, I had the worst theater going experience possible. Like, imagine something that could annoy you during a movie and it was happening. Um to the point where the guy next to me um took off his shoes and had like his smelly sock feet on the seat next to me. It was just really bad. So glad I didn't have food for that. But anyway, to answer your question, Harrison, now we go to that theater I was talking about, which serves like actual dinner food. And I find the experience, it's a little more pricey, but I find that experience way better. So yeah, we went, I got a cheeseburger, and then after that got some popcorn.
Cheeseburger and popcorn. How about you, Sean? Popcorn, candy, snacks.
Oh yeah, yeah, the whole nine. But I go a lot more too.
Yeah, because for this one we had it was a tom yum kung, like a shrimp tom yum soup flavored popcorn that we had to try because it was like the new one.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
uh and yeah, it was kind of cool, kind of sour spicy popcorn. And also again, like uh not not so bad on the price either. So just happy with that experience overall.
Popcorn, you have to have popcorn when you see a movie. I,
I
I,
think
I don't
so.
think I have ever gone to a theater and not gotten popcorn at the bare minimum.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And at least back home we used to sneak in other snacks, but kind of have
I
to.
used to sneak in other snacks to mix into the popcorn. I haven't done that lately, but like I used to bring like a bag of M&Ms and like some pretzels or stuff and like stir it in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen people bring in all sorts of crazy things in the movie theaters, like bottles and alcohol and just all different sorts of things before.
Well, that's why I like this place. They serve alcohol.
Exactly.
um it's almost like a restaurant table with a movie theater screen. It's a really good place. I can't think of the name of it right now though. But anyway, yeah, I don't know where we end this. We've never done this before, but like I'd say highly recommend.
Oh yeah.
Definitely going to be watching this and
Really.
streaming the heck out of it. What streaming service would this go to?
So it's gonna go on Peacock and then on Netflix.
All right, I got both of those. Well,
So here's how we can end it before we see what Nintendo sports game we're playing next
I
week.
don't have Peacock, but someone shared a password.
So this movie or the 1993 movie?
I think I've got too much recency bias to weigh in on that, man. Like I don't see the 1993 movie as a Mario Brothers movie either. I see that as kind of like my its own piece of my childhood that isn't related. You know what I mean? Um, so it's real. That's a really hard question. I
And
mean, I'm back and forth on it. You're hitting me hard here. I didn't expect this. Because I'm like, I also wouldn't like if you're asking me like only one gets to stay and the other one gets erased from existence. Like I wouldn't want to lose the '93 Mario movie.
No.
Um,
Just what do you prefer?
I think I prefer this for a Mario movie, but if it, you know, if I'm throwing on something for nostalgia, I'm not gonna go to this. Obviously,
and for me, I did not have many nice things to say about the '93 Mario movie, so I think my answer is going to be pretty obvious, and it's going to be this new one. But yeah, I agree. I can't compare the two. But I think they both have their own special places. And of course, this new one's more commercial, more for like the kids, more for everybody. I think.
oh, I do have one last thought. The post-credit scene, which we didn't talk about. Did everyone see that? The Yoshi egg?
Yeah, it wasn't really that amazing because you
That's
saw
the
all
one
those Yoshis.
that's the one thing I think they dropped the ball on, and Sean nailed it exactly. We saw like a dozen Yoshis in the movie, so and that didn't really build any suspense for me. It would have been cooler if it was like Baby Bowser or something related to another Mario game.
So
Ludwig.
we're getting a Yoshi movie.
I
Is
don't
that
know.
it?
I don't know if it was setting up
Hmm.
another movie or a character for the next Mario movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm gonna go to the next
I
one.
think his piano said Ludwig on it,
Yeah, it
didn't
did.
it?
It said
It did, yeah.
Ludwig
Okay.
von Koopa.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Spike was
crazy.
in there. I don't know why that guy's name was Spike, but I liked him.
Oh, from because that's the guy's name in Wrecking Crew, and he
Does he
was.
look like that though?
I mean, he just kind of looks like Mario, but yeah, he that was his company, Wrecking Crew.
Oh,
So
okay. See, because
that's
the
why they
Spike
did
I
that.
know is the one that is green,
Yeah.
holds the thing, the spiky thing up, the spiky roly, and he throws it.
Yep. Oh, that part was funny too when he's like naming all his minions, and he goes, "And whatever you guys are."
Yeah,
But yeah, I still kind of prefer the '93 movie a little more.
I could have bet any money you were going to say that.
I know it wasn't going to be a big shock, but yeah, but no, overall I enjoyed it. I highly recommend it, and like I said, it makes me want more 90-minute movies.
Me too.
Well, it's a
Oh, yeah, me
out
too.
of out of order, but let's do our random pick for the Switch Online service next week. We'll end on that.
What sports title will it be?
Still loading. It's taking extra time this time.
Games you've played already, but in reverse order.
The heck? My computer fan's going nuts. Uh-oh. It's going to blow.
Well, it was a fun podcast.
Okay.
If
Give
there's
me
no
my random
game,
game.
if there's no game, that means we just choose a random Genesis game, and
Is that the law?
Okay, so this is finally loaded. So,
Good God.
this is a big one. We might need to devote a chunk of time to this thing. The pick is Super Nintendo, The Legend of
Yeah.
Zelda: A Link to the Past.
ooh,
Ooh.
So there's gonna be a lot to say. I'm sure we have a lot of stories, memories around this game. I certainly do. I'll tell you one right now. I'll give you a free one before next week. So early on when my wife and I were dating, we went away on like a weekend trip, and she got food poisoning. And so the next morning she was sleeping in because she was sick. And what I did was I said, I had Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on my laptop, and I was like, I'm gonna start a new file and see how far into the game I can get before she wakes up. And I made it to the second temple in the Dark World. Like I did the first
Wow.
3 in the Light World and made it to the second temple of the Dark World before she got up.
That's impressive.
It's like a weird kind of speed run.
That'll be a new trend you could start.
Yeah. How far in the game can you get before your wife takes it away? But yeah, I love The Legend of Zelda. That's got to be like an all-time favorite game for me. We'll have plenty to say next week. So tune in for that, and we'll see you then. And we'll also, you know what? It's well timed because we'll be talking about the footage we're going to see tomorrow, probably. So perfect. Alrighty. And as always, you know, I always say we're not the experts. We're just fans. So email us, blah, blah, blah. I haven't actually checked the email this week. Let me do that real quick before we sign off. Maybe somebody reached out to us and said, please talk about this on the podcast. And the email is loading, and it doesn't look like we have any fan emails. Wah, wah.
Any fan emails? Got it.
Well, we've got a lot from the site I use to make our show logo. They won't stop emailing me. Which I might make a new logo soon. I don't know. Write us. Tell us if you like the logo or if you think I should get a new one. And we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.